watching Fox 4 News at 9 p.m.
Welcome back. Health care is on the way for one low-income area in Kansas City, Kansas.
With the help of generous donations, the United Nation of Islam is working to build a new medical clinic near 12th Street and Quindaro. Fox 4 Steve Shaw in the newsroom tonight. Steve, the clinic is more than just talk tonight, isn't it?
Absolutely. The unified government has donated the building. Bill Dunn Jr. of J.E. Dunn Construction is helping to organize funding. And the bottom line is they're trying to get services to people who normally wouldn't get them. This afternoon, Bill Dunn and several other representatives from companies who are donating goods took a tour of the building the United Nation of Islam is renovating. Companies such as Payless Cashways, Schutte Lumber, and Johns Manville Insulation have donated thousands of dollars in lumber, sheetrock, and insulation. Eventually, the United Nation of Islam hopes to have 4 doctors working at the facility. Bill Dunn, who also used to chair the Kansas City, Kansas Chamber of Commerce, says we should believe in what this group is doing.
This group isn't about converting people. They're about converting people's hearts. And they really don't care if you're a Christian or Muslim or Jew or whatever.
The United Nation of Islam has plenty of manpower to renovate their building into a medical clinic. What they still need, though, is a lot more raw materials, John.
Yeah, Steve, I know we've talked about this before, but we shouldn't confuse this group with the controversial Nation of Islam, right?
That would be correct, John. The United Nation of Islam has a well-documented track record of reviving blighted areas and restoring hope.
With a little help from its friends tonight. Steve Shaw in the newsroom. Steve, thanks.
Our kids are doing better.
When we say the word Quindaro, what comes to mind?
The street in Kansas City, Kansas has a reputation known throughout the metro. It's been said that if you're looking for trouble, you stay off Quindaro.
In tonight's Focus 4 report, Nancy Lewis does not take that advice. As a matter of fact, she spent a few days on the street and found a big surprise. Something's up on Quindaro, and it's something that could change the street's reputation for good.
Quindaro Boulevard. Anyone who watches the news knows what goes on here. Gunplay leads to bloodshed. Bloodshed leads to heartbreak. Heartbreak leads to hopelessness. Quindaro, the boulevard of broken dreams. But right in the thick of it, something is happening. Something that's making people stop, look, and listen.
Real hard. There was a lot of killing, drugs, different things that's just not doing anything for anybody except getting them killed and put in jail where they don't do anything but sit down.
Just and equality is the best message to me.
What makes me different is that I'm doing something that's right.
The United Nation of Islam is trying to bring hope back by doing right on Quindaro. Not to be confused with Farrakhan's group, the United Nation is about making a positive change, regardless of religion or race.
You never seen such peace and order on Quindaro. All the drug dealers that was here, the crime that was taking place, quite a few deaths on Quindaro. It hasn't been happening since we've been here.
Ready? Move!
Drill team performances are just one way the group is making its presence known. The United Nations chose this intersection, 18th and Quindaro, the worst of the worst, claiming it as its own. This is your diner. That's right, a new business in an area where things like diners and dime stores disappeared long ago.
The people here were left and forgotten.
This is more than a diner. This is an example of the United Nations way of life.
We pay attention to the small things or the details to make sure that everything that we do promotes life.
For example, these aren't hamburgers, they're salmon burgers. Instead of potato chips, the restaurant serves plantain chips. No sugar here, only sucrose. The United Nations feels those lead to a healthier lifestyle. Here at your bakery just down the street, the pastry chefs are using carob instead of chocolate. By the way, all chefs here work for free.
What I get out of it is freedom to express myself.
Alea spends most of her free time here coming up with recipes for new kinds of cakes and pies. She says she gets to better herself while bettering the community.
I feel great because you actually, when you see something that that you have participated in and bringing it about, it gives you a good feeling.
She says she feels it really is her bakery, along with the rest of the communities, and something she could be proud of.
That makes sense. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
It's no wonder every one of the new businesses on Quindaro is based on United Nations principles of right and wrong. A trip through your grocery store shows what that means. Clean, right. Fresh, right. Orderly, right. Just ask 8-year-old Brian.
Instead of just sitting there letting the service station go back to zero, nothing's happening there. You go over there, paint it, make it look right, and then do right in it. That's why on the pump, it has the red background and it says, "We do it right." Because that's exactly what we're doing it right.
Right, trying to get our first big today.
What they've learned shows up in the service, too.
The knowledge of how to be civilized, the knowledge of how to be productive.
And people in the community notice.
Not too long ago, this gas station was in pretty sad shape. Most of the people wanting to do business in this area were looking for drugs. But now, business is booming, and it's had an effect on the entire community.
Sowing Real Estate has been on this corner since the 60s. Not too long ago, owner Donald Sowing was considering finally leaving the spot after 40 years. But now, all that's changed.
The people that used to hang out and cause all the problems just don't show up anymore. And I feel just as comfortable here now as I would in the Country Club Plaza somewhere.
The United Nations says that on this and other sites, they've had no problems with drugs or crime.
Even though the fellow may be a hoodlum out here that wants to cause some problems, he still respects the idea of a people that are trying to do it right.
It's changed tremendously.
And that has brought other people into the neighborhood. People like Versi Golf.
It used to be such a violent street. And in the olden days, they used to call it Bomb Pop City. And there were lots of bombs and lots of men on the streets.
Versi and other seniors are rediscovering Quindaro.